Hello, artists and weavers. Today I'm going to do an oval shape in my weaving. So I've done horizontal stripes, vertical stripes. I've done some sort of stair-step triangle shapes and raya knots. And so now I'm going to weave through, and I'm going to do, I've sketched it out on a little Post-it note and put it behind there to help me remember the shape. And before I start to try to build the shape, I am going to do a vertical or a horizontal line of the blue just to give it a little bit of substance here, because against the raya knots, it's a little bit, I feel like it's going to get lost, right? So I'm just going to weave this horizontal stripe in, and again, artists edit and revise. And so as I'm going along, if I want to, oops, did I change my pencil? Yeah, I did. Okay, good me. No, I didn't. I thought so. Okay, change. We edit and revise. So here, obviously focus is an issue in weaving. We really have to concentrate and watch the pattern, right? I questioned and then I checked to see, oh, did I really? Is that really the way I want to weave that before I started to? Now there is going to be a little hole here in between where those raya knots are, because this is what we would call a sampler. I don't have a problem with it having a little bit of a hole in it. I think it's going to be an interesting visual aspect of it. And it's intentional, right? So, but even if you did it by mistake, as an artist, you just don't tell people that. You just say, oh, I did that on purpose. Because if you don't tell them there's a mistake, they probably won't know, right? Because you get to decide what you want it to look like. So squish all that down good. All right, does look like I need to move my Post-it note up a little bit. Post-it note's nice for underneath because it'll stay in place, right? So, all right, here we go. So I want it to be oval shape, and feel like it needs to be a slightly smaller oval shape, so I'm just going to take my pencil and bring a new line to follow, right? All right, so I'm going to have blue come up here and here. So I'm going to go across, looks like I'm going to go to this third one a couple times, and then I'll be going on just two for a couple, and then on one. Remembering to leave enough of a tail so I can weave it in later or tie it off as I desire. So again, we want to be watching how tight we pull side to side. We want to push it down so it's nice and tight, because I don't want to have holes in my composition. So where I'm trying to make these shapes, I want it to look like a line, so I want to avoid holes. I want to make sure that that's okay. All right, so I think that's good on those two, and now three, and now I'm just going to use the two. So back and forth just on these two. Maybe one more. Oops. Oh, what did I just do? Okay. Slow down. All right, now I'm going to wind around just the single. And I'm still pushing down. And especially when you're just going around the one, you really want to make sure that it's not too loose. Let's see, I think one more time, and then I can go back to twos. So I'm just using that pencil line to help me know which of the warp strings that I should be weaving on at any time. So I'm going to do one more, and then I'm going to switch to a new piece of blue. Well, I need a contrasting color to go in here, and I think it's going to be the pink. So let me grab a piece of pink real quick. All right, so I'm looking at what I've got here, and in between these two, so I'm going to have blue on this side. Maybe I should do that first. Let's do that first, because I think otherwise I'm going to get confused. So I want to do these three, and I want to make sure that it's symmetrical, otherwise it will be an egg that falls over, right? It won't be an egg that is oval shaped and standing up. It'll be, which, you know, abstract shape, non-named shape, organic shape, right? That's an okay thing too. So I did two that used three. So again, this is creative process and how you are working through seeing what your artwork is going to look like when it's done. So I'm going to just check here, 1, 2, okay, and then I have three that use two of the warp strings. Okay. Now I would start the single wrap at this time, and I'm going to hold off on that I'm going to do a couple of them, but I need to count, and because I didn't count while I was doing that, the other side. Again, make sure it's not too loose. Uh-oh, I only did two. I want it to have symmetry. All right, so that was easy enough to fix, right? That's why we check as we go. Again, checking as we go. Making sure that it's what we want it to look like. Because it's harder to undo it when you get too far along and you've already done a lot, and then if you have to undo because you don't like it, that can be frustrating. So let's see here. Singles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Ah! All right, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. So apparently I'm not going for symmetry on the top and bottom. Make sure it's not too loose so it doesn't overlap your previous ones. 1, 2, 3. Okay, that's going to be close because that's going to be short. That might be a problem later, but we'll deal with that later. All right, so in between here, I'm going to get it so that it uses this warp string under, oh, pull too fast and that'll happen. I'm going to go underneath there. I'm going to use this to, so it doesn't have a hole at the bottom. So I'm going over the middle one that has nothing, under, and then over to go back. And now I'm going to go in between. So I'm just going to separate them a little bit. Go over. I'm going in between these two next. So over the middle one, under the far side, over, under, and now I'm getting into the second string. So, I think I'm going to let this have a hole on the side. And just use the 3, although that might not, no, that's not going to have what I want it to look like. Okay, so I need to go, I'm just going to go in between. I'm going to keep using the last warp string on the side there. So separate that. And I'm noticing it's not perfect on the other side. Something went wrong, but I think because it'll be all right. I'm gonna pretend. Sometimes as an artist, that's what we do. We just pretend. And if it's working visually for me, then why not keep going, right? Let's see, we're here. So keep that pencil handy because it, again, will help you to separate your weft pieces so that you can again, it's easy once you get into a rhythm to go faster. Just be careful that you don't go too fast and lose track of what you're doing, right? So I feel like I'm going to run out of yarn here, and I'm going to start a new piece. And if I'm going to weave this end with the new piece. So they're double, right? And that will help because that will help my end and I won't have to weave it in later. Now I've got to come in between, over, under. Okay. But I have to pull this piece through. There we go. All right. So you start to see that oval, roundish shape starting to form. Well, I like the idea of those holes that I played with down here in the stair step. So I think I'm going to play with them on these here and only use these warps that are in the middle that don't have anything on them yet. They don't have any weft, so they'll be like a little bit of a long, narrow hole. I just think that would be kind of interesting. So while getting the warp onto the loom has rules, and weaving has some patterns that are sort of rules to help lock the pieces together, there is a lot you can play with, and you can invent your own shapes. using this process that I'm doing right now. So you don't have to do a round shape. You could do, ooh, and when I squish this down even, that's kind of fun. It starts to get, ooh, I like that. I think I'm gonna start to weave the next set, which would be into the twos. So I'm going to go back to using the warp that has things on it. And this is where I'm going to run out of yarn again. So let's see, I'm going to start this one underneath with, oh, I went over. That is going to be a problem because that will create a, oh, that means, all right. See, so lots of thinking here, and what do I need to do? So I'm just going to do that, and if it comes out the end, I can weave that in later, tie it off. So I need to go pull through, get a tail. It's going to be kind of squished, like a little squished flat ball. It's a piece of bubble gum that got stepped on. And I have one more over here. And then I can finish it off with the blue on top with a horizontal. Oh, I need to go to the threes. I didn't do the threes to finish, so I can get the blue back out and do the threes and then do the bar across, horizontal stripe across. So if you want to go for a more complex shape like that, happy weaving. Have fun with it.